Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Hey Roma.
Hey Roma, baby.
I am a co-host, Mario Mancini. I'm a former WWE wrestler, and while I was there, I used the bathroom properly. To the left of me is the voice of Hey Roma, basically because he's Roma. That's the name of the show.
I really appreciate that.
That's the name of the show.
Mr. Mancini. Hey, and by the way, listen, if Mancini's Maniacs aren't on right now, it's time to get on, man, and start asking us questions because that's what we love. We love to answer the questions. You're going to hear the truth out of us. We're not going to pitter-patter around, and dance around what the real answer is. So whatever you got to say it. Whatever we have to say back, we're going to say it back to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. So feel free to chime in. Like Roma says, you can ask us anything you'd like. We have nothing to hide here. We never do and we never will. It's good that we came together to do this because Roma maintains the truth. And as I say on every podcast I've ever done, that I really don't pull any punches. And then I say it kind of ironic because I was in a business that did pull punches. But in this forum, we don't. So welcome to the second edition of Hey Roma, and a lot has been going on this week, Roma.
Oh, baby, a lot.
Hey, Kansas City.
Woo, that's not good.
No.
And just to say this, our hearts go out to the people of Kansas City. There was no call for that. I don't know what people are thinking anymore, to do something like this, especially, time of celebration. And again, our prayers, our thoughts go out to the families, the victims, and we hope that they have a speedy recovery.
It's something because, my daughter and I were watching that on TV and watched that Good Samaritan just charge one of the gunmen and take him to the ground. And she just looked at me and said, "Dad, that's something you would do." And I'm thinking of my friends and the circle of friends that I have. There's not one of you that would have done the same thing. So, kudos to that Good Samaritan. You're a hero. You're an absolute hero.
Yeah, and you know what? He's not a hero because he plays basketball or baseball or football. He's a hero because he put his life on the line to save somebody else. So you know what? Let me get something straight, clear right off the bat. Because if you ever follow me, and I know Roman Nation's going to be following me on this podcast, this is the way that it is. We don't make heroes out of people who play football and basketball and baseball in the nice comfort of an arena. Understand? That's the deal with us. But guys that were there, that put their life on the line, our soldiers, our military, put their lives on the line all the time. Those are the people that are the heroes. And that's what we get straight. You got that? That's right, baby. That's the way that it is. Here on Hey Roma.
Well, he saved a lot of lives by doing that. His daughter was on News Nation, which I was on Tuesday night at 10:25, which you were supposed to be on tonight, but once again they postponed it. So look for Roma on News Nation on cable, major news station. Of course, the subject being Vince McMahon. In our time back in the wild, wild west, which we call wrestling in the 80s. So look for Roma on there, and I was there on last Tuesday. This Kansas City shooting is enormous. It's enormously sad. One person lost their life. There many got injured, but again, the Good Samaritan that ran and really tackled the gunman, and there was another guy that had his legs. So that was a good thing that they did that, or else other people would have lost their lives. Switching gears, Mr. Roma.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to lose friends. I don't want to lose potential loves in my life. But very upset to see Donald Trump getting hit for millions and millions and millions of dollars today.
Yeah. Well, look, they're trying to derail the guy.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, why is it, and we don't want to get too deep into this, but we may, if our callers write in and they want to hear more, we're going to give you more. Here's the thing. How can you put a dollar value on what he did, on what he sold? I mean, if the person was willing to buy whatever it was, right? A house. I put a house out there for $500,000, and somebody wants to give me $600,000. I'm going to take $600,000.
Sure.
Did I do something wrong? I don't think so. The guy offered me more money. So where's the problem? I don't get it. I really don't understand it. And they slapped some number that they pulled out of their ass. This judge. And here's the other problem. You got somebody who is. I don't want to say that Donald Trump's a Republican. I just want to say that Donald Trump is a patriot. That's how I see the guy. I'm for whoever I think. I'm going to vote for whoever I think is worthy of that position, whether he's bullshitting me or not.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's who I go with. But at the end of the day, I mean, they're just railroading this poor guy. Think about if it was you or me or any of our friends, our family. We don't have the money to go to war with these people. And this guy is going to war with them. Thank God he has the money backing him.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But eventually, and it's getting old. Let's face it, it's getting old. I mean, 1 minute, he's getting charged with, molesting somebody, raping somebody. They bring somebody full circle again, and now they're going to try him again for that. It just never ends. I mean, look, ask yourself this question. Here's the most simplest question you could ask yourself. When was your life better? When Donald Trump was our president, or now that Joe Biden is acting like he's supposed to be some president? I don't know, but the guy is definitely whacked out of his mind. Anyway, let's not go there. All right? Here's the deal. You got to ask yourself that question. When was it better? Well, to me, I saw it when Trump was better because we were respected as a nation, feared as a nation, which is great. Okay? Nobody messed with our military because when he said he was going to do something, he got it done, and he did just that. Now you have somebody saying, "Well, I'm gonna do something about it. I don't know what." Yeah, you're gonna do something about it. So you're gonna bomb them, but you told them where you're gonna bomb, what you're gonna hit, and when you're gonna hit it. So they moved their stuff out, just like they did with Obama. He told them everything that he was gonna do, when he was gonna send the missiles to hit them, right? And then everybody moved out. And what did they kill? They killed a bunch of stones, is what they killed. They killed nothing. Nothing got accomplished. But yet you got Donald Trump that got in, and he started taking these terrorists out. It's a big difference, people. So the question I ask all my Roma nation, and now Mancini's maniacs, is this. When was it safer? How many of our military people have to be killed? Because nothing's being done about those three soldiers that were just killed. Oh, yeah, he dropped some bombs. He took care of things. No, he didn't. He dropped some bombs. He blew up some empty buildings. But you don't hear any more about him, do you? Did you see the caskets come home draped? See, they don't want to show you that because that hits home. Those are the people that are protecting us and giving us our lives, making our lives safe. So you all better sit back. You better start thinking real hard about it. And if you got anything to say, just call it in, man. Bring it in. We'll answer it. We don't sweat anybody out there. Bring it, brother. Bring it.
See, I'm really digging right now is that when people are chiming in, asking questions, and when they do, they go, "Hey, Roma," which is perfect because it's the name of the show. So they actually start the question by going, "Hey, Roma." I told you that was a good name for the show. This is what I think of as you're speaking. Richard Nixon got impeached, and he resigned as president of the United States over Watergate. And I'm talking about something that happened when I was only 7 years old. But seeing that I became educated.
I think I was 5. Just throwing it out.
But listen, by the way we look together, that's going to be believable. But, you know, being an educated person and knowing about that, my point is it was on television. The American public was notified, and they were told, look, something wrong. There's something really wrong. Nixon had spies. He had recordings. He did something really, really, really bad. You know what I mean? And today's day and age, I just think Joe Biden is so protected. You know, there's things I said to my daughter the other day. I go, you know what? I might be dead and gone in 25 years, but you're going to hear a lot of stuff that nobody knew about this particular time in this country. You're going to hear a lot that nobody ever knew. I mean, for all we know, there's another guy sitting in the Oval Office, and Biden's sitting in a corner going, Mommy, can I have another ice cream cone? And they're like, oh, my God, get him out of here.
Yeah, just keep feeding him the ice cream cones because he's not running the country. We are.
Yeah.
Right?
So
he's just our puppet.
Another thing, Roma, that I'm concerned about, and listen, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. This is like 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I'm on the phone with the Guardian of Chaos, Big Daddy. I'm on the phone with Big Daddy.
By the way, we're going to have him on.
Soon we will have him on.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Stephen Lee. We can bring
Stephen Lee, which is a Vietnam veteran, we will have him on in future. A real hero. So I'm talking. This is 2 years ago, and he says, Mancini, they're going to hit the grid, and I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, China's going to hit the grid. He goes, you know what that means? I said, I have no idea. He goes, no electricity, no running water. All the phones are not going to work. Basically, he goes, just think when we had the bad hurricanes and how you survived for 3 days without any hot water or electricity. Picture that for months.
Not just that. Can you imagine who's not part of Roma Nation, who's not part of Mancini's Maniacs? These pansy candy ass people, they're going to have no TV, no way of knowing what's going on in the outside world. They're going to be shuddering, like quivering in a corner with their husband, their wife, their children, not knowing what's going on. You know, everybody, like today, nowadays, all you people who voted for this loser president, take it from me, you're a bunch of sheep. You followed it. You just followed it and you pressed the button, man. I don't care whether you don't like me for what I said. You think I'm a Republican. I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent. Like I said, if I think the guy is worthy of that position, he's getting my vote. Just because they stamp something on my head doesn't mean I go in and I vote for that person. Doesn't work that way with me. See, I could think. I may not be as smart as him or somebody else, but at least I know one thing. I'm a lot smarter than you dumbasses that voted for him.
Well, I tell you, it's a scary thought. And I can't help but think, listen, this is what it comes down to. I can't help but think that if Trump was in office, none of this would have happened. Putin would have never went into Ukraine. And all
China wouldn't be threatened.
No, and the only thing I'm asking the American people is, the people who hate Trump's guts. You know, I just recently deleted my dating site today. I'm done with dating sites, but while I was on it, I would actually go through profiles, and the woman's profile would say, no Trumpers, no Trumpers, no Trumpers. If you're a Trumper, swipe left, no Trumpers. Even if you hate the guy, the question I have is who are you going to put in there?
Yeah, but here's the other question that's not being answered. Was your life better with him?
Oh, absolutely.
Gas was lower. We had all the respect in the world from every country. Nobody messed with the United States.
No.
We had a strong service. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. We were strong, baby.
Yeah.
Nobody crossed that line. Even South Korea made nice with Trump.
Yeah.
Respect or fear, either one works the same way. They're both good. Now you got these people, and here's the other side that I really don't understand. Look, I have a daughter also. Well, I actually have 2 daughters, 2 sons. But at the end of the day, the one that I was speaking to, I said to her, listen, you want to get into politics, you want to go into government, do it. Try to make a difference in this world. Because these people that we have in office, we're supposed to be paying them. But they don't work for us. They work for themselves. Again, how can you go into office, making X, say 100,000, 200, I'll go as high as 300,000 a year. And yet you leave and you got multi-million-dollar homes, a few of them. You got multi-million dollars in the bank. And then here's the excuse. Ready? I went and did a book signing. Woohoo, baby. Did you get paid? I want to write a book and make money like that. Are you kidding me? Come on, man. I was born in the morning, wasn't yesterday morning. But you know what? Of course, the American people, you got most of them buffaloed. You got most of them fooled. I talked to some Marines out there, and you know what they tell me? This has got to end. We have to put a stop to it. Just because they're out of the service doesn't mean that they're not willing to fight for their country. Remember that, people. You remember that. And I'm going to keep it a little. You just
go easy, that. Roma. Go easy.
That's right. You remember that in Washington. That's all. You guys can be replaced. Remember that.
Well, another thing when Trump became president, it was, the saying was that the brown bags are done at Capitol Hill, the ones that are stuffed with money. That's all over. So we have a few things stacking up here. Some are we can answer some we can answer, some we can't.
I'll answer all of them. Read them, baby.
One actually says right now, what is this? Well, this is Hey Roma. It's a brand new podcast, the second episode. Hey guys, what do you think about older wrestlers not earning younger I don't know what that says. Smarting younger wrestlers on how to work in the ring more.
Smartening them up.
Or old school.
Yeah.
You know what? Well, we own Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, and I know for a fact that our students roll their eyes at Roma and I because that's what we do teach. We teach them the old school. You know why? Because it works.
Right.
And it's better than the crap that's out today. Right. There's psychology involved. There's a reason for doing everything in the ring. Every single thing you do in the ring has a purpose to it. So, that's the way we teach it.
And let me just say, we have probably 14 students now that all have one glass eye because they rolled their eyes.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Pull those things right out, man. Pull right out.
The other one is, who's the stiffest guy you ever faced, Roma?
Wow, the Nasty Boys.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, I don't know what it was called before they called the stinker, which is your ass in somebody's face in the corner. But personally, Knobs would raise his arm and my face got squashed in his armpit. I really didn't appreciate that whatsoever. I got to be honest with you. And, well, you know how it is, Roma.
No, I understand.
Hey, Roma.
I thought your microphone looks right next to your mouth.
Well, do you...
What else we got?
Hey, Roma, do you like RJ City? What's that?
What is RJ City?
Oh, AEW interview? Never watched it.
Haven't seen it.
Haven't seen it.
Let me just touch on AEW a little bit. A lot of talent not being utilized properly. Just my opinion.
Hey, Roma, what do you think of the One World Order? Personally, for me, I don't know what the... All right, guys.
Well, I do.
Good. Go ahead.
Yeah, One World Order. Kind of, what's really strange about One World Order, it only clicked not that long ago that is actually what these socialist communists, they really want. One World Order. They want one rule. And somebody, let's say Putin, he runs the world, man. It won't be him. It's going to be people with money. We won't go into those people's names. But that being said, One World Order, again, it's a gimmick. Unless you're living in the real world, it's a gimmick. I mean, we're going to talk about one world. Let's talk about spaceships and aliens, man. I mean,
Roma, the last question is from Friend. Isn't it something that there's not a name up there, Roma?
Friend.
Yeah, Friend. You know what his question is?
No.
He wants to know if you would blow Donald Trump.
Oh. Okay.
That's why his friend's on there.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to tell you what, friend.
Here it comes.
No.
Here it comes.
No. I know somebody that would do it for the right dollar amount. And we're going to be bringing him up soon. That man is from the WWE. It's always a question of money. From what I understood, right, at this point.
Well, my buddy Ted DiBiase would say everybody's got a price.
Everybody's got a price. And you know what, friend? I'm going to tell you what.
Ted would say that.
Right? Watch this. Friend, I bet you have a price. Yeah, you do, don't you? Because if you didn't have a price, you wouldn't have brought it up. You're just trying to gauge on what the number should be for you. So, you know what? Again, people hide behind the keyboard. That's not cool. It's just not cool. So look at the bright side, all right? I answered your question. I think that you're just looking for a number for yourself.
You know what, Roma? I know why he asked that question.
Why is that?
I know why he asked that question.
Why?
Because I think personally, Friend is in a moment in a coat closet with peanut butter up his ass, sucking on a lollipop with his underwear down, and he wanted to see if you would answer it a certain way so he'd get off.
Got it. He knows. If anybody knows, he knows. I can tell you right now, he's not part of Roma Nation.
No.
He's definitely not one of Mancini's main.
No, but you know what's beautiful about the world? Everybody's got their opinions, and we're here to take everybody's opinion. Everybody doesn't have to agree with us.
Well,
but
listen, we could disagree, right? I mean,
here's the difference.
We can agree to disagree, number one.
Here's the difference, guys. You can respectfully disagree, and we'll respect your opinion. But when you come across with something like that, you're getting it
right
hard.
Yeah.
So we're here.
You know what this is, friend? Can you see what that is? You know what that is? That's you. That's a flying asshole. Okay? So, you know what? Just go back to your closet, do whatever you're doing, and, don't mess on our show.
Yeah.
You just don't have the brain capacity to take or insult one of us.
Oh, yeah.
The
question is it Jiff or is it Skippy? So, Roma, do you have any stories from being on the road with other wrestlers? Brother, we appreciate the question. And you know what? When we do a huge segment on our past and the glory days when we were on the road, Roma and I have a ton of stories. We could be here till 11 o'clock. That's going to take too much time.
Right.
So I promise you, though, I promise you, though, we'll go over that at some point. We will tell our road stories.
Right, not just that, we got to be a little more specific because there's so many.
There's
10 years of being on the road.
Do
we have a story?
There's a ton of them. I mean, listen, just for an example, Roma and Gino Carabello bet me $50 a piece that I couldn't walk through Buffalo Airport bare-assed. So I dropped my drawers and I walked through the airport naked. And, that's how the story starts out. You know what I mean? So there's a ton of stories. Yeah. So, yeah, that's...
So, what? I want to touch on something. Let's talk about, there's that damn elephant again. He's in the room, dude.
The elephant.
We got to talk about Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the hot topic.
Yeah.
News stations are trying to get in touch with us.
Yeah.
He's actually been on one.
Roma of all people. And you know what? Here I am, ready to go on national TV, right? National TV in front of millions of people. And I tell the producer before we go on the air, listen, I know who I was, and I'm not ashamed of who I was in the wrestling business. I go, but this guy was in WrestleMania. You know what I mean? This is the guy you want on. You know, he was the superstar, and they postponed him twice. You know, which you know, but he will be on News Nation.
Everything
And
comes in threes.
listen, I got a little pushed on News Nation. They're very nice people. You know, everybody knows, Roma, that I took a flamethrower to my position in 3 WWE encyclopedias. I don't know if they come out with a 5th edition or a 6th edition. I'm going to be in it, but I certainly took a flamethrower to the WWE when I came out, and I backed and corroborated Rita Chatterton's story starting in New York Magazine. And when I did that article in New York Magazine, at the very end of New York Magazine, which drives reporters crazy because I'm not coming out with it, I said, when the allegations against the other girls and Rita Chatterton, there were like 4 of them at the time. And at the end of that article, I said, there's worse stuff than that. And then this came out a couple of weeks ago where the allegation says that he defecated on this girl's head. I went on News Nation and I went, guess what? There's worse stuff than that. And she's like, Banfield's like, what is it? Can you give me a hint? What is it? What is it? I said, listen, I'm not going to be standing in a court of law. There's no way I'm doing that. But she's like, you know, is it knowledge to other people? I'm like, well, from the late 70s to the early 80s, yeah, it should be, but nobody's come forward. And that was just, you know, Mario says there's worse than that. You know what I mean? So,
right, but, you know, for those people who come forward, you know, maybe they're married now, kids, you know, family. Who wants to open Pandora's box?
No one. But they had a clip from Jake the Snake on his podcast, and Jake is sitting there going, just stone faced, going, when I read it, I had no expression. I wasn't surprised. It didn't shock me at all, and it didn't shock any of us.
No, it didn't shock me.
None of us. When listen, the lay person, the wrestling fan, a person that's never been in a dressing room before, person who wasn't on the inside, where you and I broke in, guys, we broke in before WrestleMania 1. Okay, we broke in before WrestleMania 1, so. You know, we were there. We saw everything. We saw everything. We were the ones in the showers.
We heard a lot of things.
And we were the ones in the showers washing. You know, when you wash your hair in the shower, you know, what do? You close your eyes, or your eyes are going to burn, right? You're washing your hair. Well, when you're doing that, how would you like a nice cup of ice water on your private parts while you're washing? Your arms are up washing your hair, and all of a sudden you get this freeze right on your nuts, and it just basically doubles you over, and you hear you know, that was funny to them. You know, that was a joke. That was a joke. So there's other things and everything, but yeah, we were there. So, you know, so Jake was there. Jake knows a lot of stuff, but the thing about it is, like I said on News Nation, what I'm doing on there is taboo. If my second father, Chief Jay Strongbow, was alive and I was on that News Nation and he was there, you would have seen me leave that screen by my hair. He would have grabbed me by my hair, yanked me off the air in another room, and said, what do you think you're doing?
Yeah, but, you know, in your defense, here's the thing, okay? What people don't realize is this. Yes, there was a creed, you know, that we were all boys, we were all family.
You don't want to be a stooge.
Right. They don't want you don't want to get stooge on somebody because that's taboo. You know, and him and I had a discussion after he was on News Nation there, and I said, listen, at the end of the day, you said what you had to say. You spoke the truth. And if other wrestlers don't like that, it's tough shit. Because they're not, what do they all do? They all sit around and wait for Vince McMahon to ring their phone? Your careers are over. My career is over. I don't sit by the phone like some of these guys and wait for Vince to call them that he's going to bring them into another show, another match. So they keep their mouth shut. And you know what? They die with their mouth shut. But when it comes down to right and wrong, we stand up for what's right and what's wrong. And if telling the truth is wrong about somebody who shit on someone else's head, then that's too damn bad. And I'll say it, I've said it before. I have a lot of people that I consider friends, acquaintances, that I see when I go to autograph shows.
Yep.
And I'm not saying I'm the toughest guy in the world. But if they have a problem with me speaking the truth.
I've seen some things though,
okay,
like justify
then, you know
that.
what? Come and have a nice discussion with me.
No, you don't want to do
because
that.
Vince isn't paying my bills.
You don't know.
He's a billionaire.
You don't want to stand across from Roma.
He's not paying my bills. He's not paying Mancini's
Don't want
bills.
to
He
do
ain't
that.
paying anybody's bills.
Don't want to look Roma.
And if he wasn't making money off of you, he wouldn't be putting you at the top or whoever they were going to put you. And I know when I get on News Nation, there's going to be questions. Look, I saw The Undertaker. I saw his interview. He didn't answer any questions. He protected himself. He avoided a direct question. I like The Undertaker. Always got along with him. Then they brought on Diamond Dallas Page. Why? I don't know. He doesn't know anything about Vince. Wasn't even in the WWE. Or the WWF at the time when we were there. Maybe they just wanted an opinion. But how do you get an opinion from someone who's really never met the guy or knows the guy? I sat down. I had lunch, dinner with this man. I know what, for the most part, I thought I knew what makes this guy tick. This brother is way past that. I mean, I can't grasp it. But if someone asks me, I'm going to tell them the truth. I'm not going to beat around the bush. You know why? Because he's not paying my bills. And technically, for the most part, he really never did. I busted my ass for him, as did my partner Hercules, as did all these people. And now it looks like the ones that been making all the big money are all going to be taken down with this lawsuit. They've all been implicated thus far. Not him, not me. So you know what? The way I look at it is like this. If I get asked, I'm going to say what I know. And if I don't get asked, I'm not going to throw out there what I know. Let him fight his own battle. The guy is definitely twisted, without a doubt.
He's always been twisted.
Dude,
though.
He's a Twizzler, man.
He's always
Brother's
been
a Twizzler.
He's always been.
Yeah, but this is way beyond a lot of we knew a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, defecating. You know what I'm saying? It's just, he's at a whole nother level.
Listen, brother, being in the wrestling business for as long as we were in the wrestling business as young men, unattached, with no commitments, some freaky shit has gone on, which has been able to enhance our talents and our private lives in the bedroom.
Let me ask you something.
But we would never go to that level, man.
Let me ask you something. Right? Let me ask you something.
Yeah, go ahead.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Now I have an answer.
Yeah.
Kind of sort of answer for this.
Yeah.
But I want to see where you're coming from.
Okay.
What's next? Committing murder and getting away with it?
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
listen.
I mean, at the end of the day, where do you draw the line if you keep getting away with what you do? This is not the first person he bought a house for or a car for.
Listen, I'm glad you brought that up because, listen, maybe Vince didn't pull the trigger, but people have died and he's paid people off. Listen, you want the truth? Here's the truth. I walked into the Poughkeepsie Mid-Hudson Civic Center in the 80s. And I remember giving Roma this phone call when this hit the newspapers and went, everybody knew that. Go to find out, we knew it, but you guys didn't. So I walk into the Poughkeepsie Mid-Hudson Civic Center, and the Tonga kid the Tonga Kid is doing a promo, and he's going, Piper, Piper. And I walk over to Strongbow, like I always do, and I go, I like to do my 19, 20-year-old voice. I enjoy it because I was so stupid back then. So I love doing it. So I go, hey, Chief. And he goes, what, Mr. Mancini? I said, why is the Tonga Kid over there yelling, Piper? Where's Snooker? Mind your business. I go, Chief, where's Snooker? Would you shut up? I go, but why's the Tonga Kid? What did Snooker get hurt? Didn't see Snooker. He eventually came back, but he didn't see Snooker. Then you got into the dressing room. See, because the promos were done on the stage in Poughkeepsie. So after, but you pass the stage, go downstairs into the, now you go to your friends that you trust, and you go, hey, where's Snooker? And they go, he killed a woman a couple nights ago, rough sex. He choked her and he killed her. I went, oh, you had to go away for a while. I go, jail? No, he had to go away. He went away. Vince paid out money, and then he came back. And then all of a sudden, 30 years later, Jimmy Snuka committed murder. What? Right. Yeah, he did.
Right. And let me add to this, okay? I used to be a marshal for a short time. I was a marshal. So when I found out, or I heard, I didn't find out, when I heard from Tito Santana that Jimmy Snuka killed somebody, I laughed because I'm like, well, that can't be because he's in the other car. I mean, he was just at the arena with us. And no, he killed somebody. And I was like, yeah, okay, Tito, whatever. So I went to my room, came out the next day, and there we all are. Get to the arena, and there's Jimmy. Now, I got along with Jimmy. Jimmy has always
Everybody
showed
did. Everybody
all
did.
respect.
Everybody
always
did.
showed me respect.
Everybody did.
Yep, he was a gentleman.
You were. Yeah, to everybody.
And to everybody.
Yeah.
But again, I'm just speaking about me right now.
Yeah, I got
right?
you. I got you.
You got me?
I got you.
Me?
I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
So, that being
I'll
said,
go grab a cupcake.
I just kept saying to myself, what's going on? I mean, why are these guys lying to me about this guy? Now I start traveling. I start working out with Jimmy Snuka. So I didn't think anything of it. All joking aside, when this came out, his book came out, which buried him actually. He buried himself. That's when I knew it was true. So I was in wrestling all these years, and because I've been a marshal and watched, I obviously brought murderers back to prison. I knew that they had to get locked up. So there was no way Jimmy Snuka could have murdered anybody because he's out walking around. He's out wrestling. He's working out with me. That's how much of, I thought, a cover-up it was. I never bought into it.
That's how powerful Vince McMahon is.
Yeah. I mean, how do you get a guy off all these years? You know how you get him off? He's making you $1. That's how you get him off. You pay whatever it takes. That's how you get him off. So, Vince is paying these girls to shut up. But then you shortchange them and tell them, no, I'm not giving you the rest of the money. And what do? They turn your ass in because you're bigger than the game. Vince is bigger than the game. That's why. He pays everybody off. He's a billionaire. He pays everybody off.
Well, Vince is the game.
Well, he thinks he's the game.
He is the game.
Well, until somebody stops his game, and that game will stop. Well, whether it's by law and order or some crazed woman comes up and shoots him.
Well, it will. Well, this is what I always say.
Hey, get rid of the mustache, Vince.
You
look like taco burrito.
Well, I put on my Facebook when that picture first came out. I said,
Tito Bandito.
I said, Uncle Carlos, what did you do?
I think he wanted to be like Tito Santana. Arriba.
Listen, this is how I explain it. Okay, so you have a privately owned company that you bought from your father in 1983 for $1 million. This is your baby. While you're inside of this baby, okay, you have a lot of steroid use. Okay. You have Mel Phillips playing with 11-year-olds' feet. Okay, the ring announcer. All right. You have Pat Patterson sexually abusing ring boys, other wrestlers. Okay, propositioning,
in bad positions,
people
end up leaving their job, quitting wrestling.
Right? If they don't do what Pat wants them to do, which is basically lay them back in the bed and let them play with your whatever. You lose your job, and then later, Vince with the woman hounding and everything, the Rita Chatterton thing. And women after her and stuff like that. It's all inside that private company, And you have to remember, if you didn't wrestle, this applied to Hulk Hogan, by the way. If you didn't wrestle, you didn't get paid. There were no guaranteed contracts back in the 80s, early 90s. There were no guaranteed contracts. You didn't work. You didn't get paid. Okay, these guys today have guaranteed contracts whether they wrestle or not.
Wait, but here's
that
the
didn't
best
exist.
That didn't exist. You could only wrestle for Vince.
You could. Oh yeah, you could only.
Right?
And you
but,
could. You could only.
You were a contractor.
An independent contractor. Right? Yeah, an independent contractor.
Work for someone else.
Right.
You were out.
You were out. So right.
He locked you down.
Right. He locked you down.
He had the best
listen,
of both worlds.
I signed. Listen. Truth. You want truth? Okay. I signed a contract in 1984. With the WWF, the World Wrestling Federation, Titan Sports Incorporated. I signed a very lengthy contract. That contract said that Vince McMahon owned the rights to Mario Mancini. Mancini is my mother's maiden name. And my trainer, Tony Altomar, after going through many Italian names, came up with Mario, stuck it in front of Mancini, and my wrestling name was Mario Mancini. Vince McMahon now owned that, lock, stock, and barrel, and I couldn't use it anywhere else. Also, my contract said I would never be paid less than $50 for my performances. Although, in all fairness, except for TV, I was never paid $50. I'll give him that. But that's what the contract was. So, but if you didn't work, you didn't get paid. So now you want to become a big boy. Well, if you want to become a big boy, there's a line for the big boys, and you have to walk that straight line. So now you go onto the stock market and become a publicly traded company. Now you have people to answer to. Things started getting a little hairy. Now you bring in TKO for millions and millions of dollars. Now you have somebody directly to answer to. And now this guy Khan is looking, going, hey, you sick bastard, you're fucking up the whole company. So Vince has people to answer to now. He can't, what I say is he never matured emotionally or sexually being a sexual deviant from the 80s. He never gave that up. And everybody always screams, what about Linda? What about Linda, ladies and gentlemen, et al.? Linda McMahon lives in Florida. She has for years. They've been apart for years. He's got a condo in Stanford. They've been apart for years. Even if you look back 6 months ago, you could see his house for Greenwich was up for sale finally. They've been apart for years.
And Linda, I may add, is as far as I know, and at least in my opinion, that the time that I got to speak with her and know her, is a fine woman.
Yeah. Even when she was in politics, she went to my daughter's school, and my daughter went up to her and said, hey, you know my dad? And she was taken back and said, I do? And she said, yeah, you do. She goes, who's your dad? She goes, Mario Mancini. She goes, oh my God, yeah, I do know your dad. Very nice woman. But, you have, Roma, you have to be who you say you are. Unlike people that might have fake names and they might have a fake resume and they might live in basements.
Oh, baby, did he come strong with that one. You want to start this one off or should I? I was falling asleep over here. Are you kidding me? Falling asleep during my own podcast? Not a chance. Let me tell you something. What he's talking about, we are going to bring this out in the open. And it all started with a podcast that I was on for 1 year called Maintaining the Truth. I came up with the name. It was brought to my attention. I had done a podcast for this person. He said, we did a podcast. It did great. I want to do one with you and keep it running. Okay. Didn't know much about him. Again, that's not going to happen anymore.
A wrestler.
He said he was a wrestler.
Can't find him anywhere.
Can't find him anywhere. I didn't check his credentials. So what it came down to was this. He told me that he was a wrestler. He told me that he was a writer for Lionsgate. Now, that's a big company. Lionsgate, yeah. Owns a house in California. Lives in the city. Has a wife. Has a adopted son. What else? Promised the world he's a somebody who brought on people that I met via the World Wide Web here, and I don't think they exist for what they were. This guy was supposed to be on Broadway. He was some Broadway guy. I looked him up, couldn't find him, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, me and the computers, we don't usually jive, so, as far as that goes. But then I got my daughter involved. Now, this kid can find anybody, anywhere, anytime, and what they do. And she couldn't find that this guy was ever a wrestler. So, that being said, I'm going to let Mr. Mancini touch on a few more things that one of our colleagues found out. And you're going to find this very interesting because when this gentleman, who is a person of faith, came down on one of my good friends, I was ready to tear him apart. And I said, why? What are you going to change? So I sat back, I let it go. Big Daddy is the person. He asked me to let it go. So I did. Out of the goodness of my heart and against every rule that I believe in. So I'm going to let Mr. Mancini.
Well, the thing about it is when I think about it, when I talk to Big Daddy, who talked to other people, because what this guy did was he put forth that all these people are very close to him, and it was going places, and millions of dollars were going to be made, and you want to get on the ground floor of it. And I thought something was really wrong. I didn't I was a part of it too. I eventually came on the show, and I just didn't have a good feeling in my gut, because the way he would address people, he would really talk down to people. And if he got rid of you, I mean,
slandered you.
Listen to me. Stephen Lee, war hero, Vietnam War, called him a coward.
He saved lives. He saved soldiers' lives. And this dickhead had the audacity, had the balls to call him
a coward.
A coward. And then, when I found out, I called him up. And he said, I thought we were friends. How are you taking Stephen Lee over me? Are you kidding me? If I saw you, if I had you in front of me, I'd have beat you to within 3 seconds of your life. I'd have beat you for calling Stephen Lee a coward. And some of the other things you said about people that I know, my friends.
Listen, he took a guy.
He stays in hiding because he's a big pussy, is what he is.
He took a guy.
If you cry like a little bitch, I slap you.
Which I didn't let on at the time, because, you're in the wrestling business. you're one of the WWF talent. So you don't let on. You're really cool. You're really professional, and you're one of the boys. But I had the opportunity to work with several times one of my heroes from when I was a kid, and that would be the Magnificent Morocco. And I'm friends with Don to this day, and so blessed and honored that I got to work with him in the ring. He's such a legend. He's like royalty in this business. He disrespected him so badly. He disrespected Don Morocco. And I have to tell you something, Morocco's nickname back in the 80s was Monster, because this guy, his chest must have been a 68. Don Morocco was an enormous human being. And if it was back then, this person, he would have been dead. Morocco would have tore him to shreds.
He's living in the basement in his mother's house.
He's badgering and insulting a man that's in his 70s now. I mean, you feel good about that? What Big Daddy found out and what I found out was every man, at which I told Roma for a few years now, I go, I always talk to guys. I never spoke to women. But his MO was this: when he wanted to get rid of a guy off of his show, off of his show, he would say, the women were uncomfortable. You said something offensive to one of the women, and they felt harassed. And I'm scratching my head, going, I don't do that. I
didn't talk to anybody.
I didn't talk to any of the women. He did the same thing to Big Daddy. He did the same thing to all the guys. So he's able to get some talent on there through an agency for money, for whatever sponsors he has. But I guess the reason why I bring him up is because, as Roma and I work every day, you go home, you have dinner, you watch a little TV, you go to bed. It's kind of like Groundhog's Day, you know what I mean? You really, because you don't live that life, you really throw a blind eye on who's really demented out there, right, and who's really got a sick mind. Right. And this individual has probably an equally sick mind as Vince McMahon does. Yeah. They're one of the two. They're one of the same, because he created this entire fantasy and he acted it out, and people got hurt from it.
Right.
People got hurt from it.
Might as well say it. Let's say his name.
Well, this is supposedly what
his name.
We don't even know if it's his name. We don't even know if it's his name.
He makes all fictitious accounts.
Right.
He goes by the name of Avi Klein. I've asked to meet with him. He won't, and it's for a good reason that he won't. But at the end of the day, steer clear, because this guy is a problem. And he asked me why I sided with Stephen Lee. He's a war hero. He protected my ass when I wasn't in Vietnam, while I was home growing up. He saved a lot of lives. And you call him a coward? But who's the real coward? You hiding in your basement behind a fake name. Huh? Who's a coward that won't come out and meet me somewhere? I think it'd be you, Avi. You're the coward. And
I think the show's still going on, and I think he still has.
He has something called the Green Room or something. With a bunch of wrestlers. The ones that he shits on.
All right, so here's the deal, and this includes the wrestling conventions. Now, I was fortunate enough when I got out of the wrestling business to bump into the right people. So, for instance, when I was 22 years old, in 1988, and somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, Mancini," I go, "Yeah." In 2002, you're going to law school. I would have looked at that person and go, "You're out of your mind. I could barely get through high school. You're out of your mind." But I did, because I was fortunate enough to bump into the right people, okay, who gave me direction, who inspired me to do it. No, I applied myself, and I worked hard.
Let me tell you something.
And I worked hard.
Let me tell you maniacs over here.
Mancini's maniacs.
Yeah, that's right. Let me tell you about him, okay? He shorts himself of what he's accomplished in his life. Think about this. Here's a guy that doesn't care that, he didn't win a lot of matches and he talks about it. I mean, how many people do that? He doesn't care. It wasn't real, man. Who's keeping score? I can tell you right now that I don't know how many matches I've had and how many I've won, how many I've lost. You know why? Because it doesn't matter. It wasn't real. We did what they asked us to do. But some of you knobheads out there think this thing is, it's all about the numbers.
Yeah.
Look at AEW. They're keeping count of how many wins and how many losses people have. Come on. You can make somebody go undefeated if you really wanted to.
Like Taker, WrestleMania's Taker streak, right?
Yeah. I mean, another example. Come on. We have any more questions? Let's answer some questions. Got any?
Well, let this old man get close. So, Rick Howard, listen to the pretty wonderful theme before my workout today. Good for you, Rick. He appreciates that.
Nice, man. I appreciate that.
Saw Mario on Banfield the other night. Thank you so much.
All right.
Rick.
All good stuff.
Is that the annoying guy? Is that the annoying guy named Avi?
That's the guy.
Always seemed like a douche. Rick! Rick, you got the bell, brother. You got the bell. Always seemed like a douche.
You're like the elephant in the room.
Yeah, man. So, it's like... listen, Roma and I, you want to see Roma, how much Roma cares about, all this, doing stuff for money and stuff. I want any one of you, whether we're in Ohio on May 4th or we're in New Jersey on May 4th, when we're in St. Louis on May 18th, before that, when we go to WrestleCon, for WrestleMania, you go up and get Paul Roma's autograph, and you start talking to him. It'll be a half hour later. Roma still be talking to you. He's just as genuine as you're gonna find. And that's all you can ever ask to be in life, is to be a genuine person. But when people purposely, for their own gain, because Roma and I had this conversation about Avi before, because of he's not paying anybody to be on the show. And Roman's like, he's got all the money. He's got all the sponsor money. Why isn't he paying anybody to be on the show? And let me tell you something, guys, something. Saturday night, you log on at 8:30 p.m., and you're still on this thing at 1 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? Your whole night is shot. It is shot. Tell me that's not worth anything. Right. You know what I mean?
Well,
and it's every Saturday night.
I started in July. I told him I'll give you a year of my life, and after that, I'm done. And the day came, a year went by, and I said, I'm done. And he said, well, don't tell anybody. And I'm like, okay. He goes, I don't want anybody on the show to know. He goes, just let's end this show, and then that's it. We'll stop. Okay, so he started up another show. But listen, at the end of the day, what you're seeing here, yes, you've seen us on TV. You've seen us wrestle in the wrestling ring. We are real. We are who we say we are. We don't sugarcoat. This guy, I have no idea who he is, what he's all about. I know he's hurt a lot of people. Without a doubt, he's hurt a lot of people. We could bring the Reverend on that he hurt. Promised him a job. This guy folded up tent with his family and took him, I believe, it was out to California, only to find out that there was no job.
No deal.
It was all a lie. I mean, and I warned other people like Tugboat about him. And then what do? I see Tugboat on his show. So you know what? You don't want to heed my warning. That's fine. It's all good. Just stay on there and keep doing what you're doing. But know one thing, that this guy is not real.
No.
And I'm sure he's going to try his best to jump on us and, hey, Roma. But you know what? You can't touch this. And I know one thing. One day, somewhere, somehow, some way, because I know the good Lord shines down on me from time to time. you and I, our paths are going to cross. And then all I got to say about that is, poor Avi.
Well, here's the thing. These let's get a little legal for a minute here. The defense to defamation is the truth. So if person gets mad that you said something negative about them or an allegation, and they go, well, that's not true. Well, it's on them to prove that that's not true. Well, why? How is it not true? So it was like the Rita Chatterton thing. Every media, every newspaper, every magazine, every show that I went on, they wanted to say, okay, well, Vince raped Rita. And I said, that's not the question that was posed to me. The question was, in 1986, Rita said she got raped. She told two people. She told me and Andre the Giant. Unfortunately, Andre's passed away. Who's that leave? This dumbass, right? So the question was not if she got raped. The question was, did she communicate this to you back then? And the answer is yes. She did tell me a few days after it happened, and I told Roma. And the answer is yes. She did communicate. Whether it happened or not, I don't know. But she did communicate that to me. That's the question. So this is kind of similar. So.
And wait, you said to me, what do I do?
Right.
And I said, what do you mean, what do you do? There's nothing you can do.
Your career's over.
What are you going to do? You're going to rat out
Vince?
Who owns the company? Yeah. What's going to happen? He's going to fire himself?
Yeah, no.
You're out of a job.
You're out of a job.
So, I mean, again, truth be told, that's exactly what went down. This is what happened. Yeah.
And that's what happened to this young lady, and that's how the prosecution is going to bring it against Vince, or her lawyers, to say she was flat on her back financially. Her mother and father have passed away. She had nothing. Vince took her in. She saw this money that she needed so badly. New car, $50,000 gift card. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? So, but the point I'm trying to make is, we could say Avi Klein, and he could say, well, that's defamation and slander. Well, we have stories that were told to us that people will come forward that your name is an Avi Klein. So if your name is an Avi Klein, you can't be slandered.
Right.
And your name can't be defamed. It's just like if I started really on a rant about Pat Patterson, really hard, and his family came forward and said, we're going to sue you. Well, like I said, I did go to law school, and you can't defame somebody you can't be sued for defamation for somebody who's dead. So it's like, if his name is Avi Klein, that's where he's got to start. And then he's got to prove that all of these incidents with myself, Big Daddy, with Morocco, Stephen Lee, David Holliday, all of these incidents did not occur and they didn't happen. Okay, which they did. So we're not saying that he's an immoral human being and he's heinous. And he's done these heinous. He's sexually depraved, and we're not saying that. All we're saying is, what he did was pretty shitty to people.
Yes,
that's what we're saying.
And I'm just going to say this and leave that where it is. Avi, your bell has rung, baby. Your show's over. The match is done. You lost. Okay, want to come on the show? Bring it. But you're going to come in person. You're not going to hide like you've been hiding behind your camera. So, that being said, I think I had a great time. A lot of people, a lot of chatter going on. Is there one more we could end this with? I mean, get one of Mancini's maniacs in there.
Well, I don't see any Mancini maniacs in there. Listen,
Roman Nation.
Well, there's got to be a Roman Nation in there. Listen, here's the deal: you speak up now if A, you're holding a Snickers. B, you're holding a Twinkie. C, you're holding a donut. Or D, you're holding a slice of pizza. That would definitely make you a Mancini maniac, for sure. What I want to tell you as we wrap up here is things are going to start getting really interesting here as technology advances. Our poor producer Gabe here, we put him on the spot, and we want so much out of him, but we're going to bring on guests. Yes. We're going to have Stephen Lee on here. Yes. And we're going to have the Guardian of Chaos Big Daddy on here. Yes. And we're going to delve into our repertoire here, and we're going to have a lot of guests on here.
Right. We're bringing on the military. We're bringing in first responders, even though I call them military first responders. You know what I'm talking about.
Ambulance, police, right. Military.
We need Mario's maniacs, Mancini's maniacs. We need them. We need you to pass the word about, hey, Roma, and I need Roma Nation. I need you all to pass this around. And I know our buddies, the Marines, we know they're going to be a part of this. And you'll all be a part of it. You all get to ask what you want to ask. And I think it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a great show every week. We're going to be on here, and we're going to be bringing you something good, something new. So
that's it. Scott Wilder's a Mancini maniac. He's holding the Snickers.
Wow. Beautiful.
Scott Wilder Promotions. Yep. That's who Roma and I work for. When I say we're going to St. Louis and we're going to WrestleCon, it's this gentleman's car that we jump into, and he in a very cruel way always has a Snicker for me, even though I have what Wilford Brimley would say, diabetes. So thanks for the Snicker, Scott. You know I eat it. It's just not a joke. So So we're gonna have a lot of guests on here. We're gonna bring some wrestling guests on here, and
so tell everybody, tell your friends, your family,
and
don't be shy.
And don't forget, Roma and I own Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling. If it's been a dream of yours and you want to become a professional wrestler, we're trying to make Gabe into a professional wrestler. Although Gabe already had some experience, let's just say wrestling, and we'll leave the professional out. We'll leave it at that. But we love Gabe. We understand why he's doing it. Number one. Number two, for you guys in Connecticut that are listening, February 24th, next Saturday, we have iHeart Wrestling at 662 Co Avenue. That would be a live wrestling show. Hope to see all you guys there.
Yeah, we got some great people that are wrestling, some great angles going on. And, again, it's local for people that are here. Other people that are not close by. Again, we love you. We thank you very much for all the questions. We didn't get to all of them. There's probably about, a couple hundred here. But at that rate, that's all we're doing is answering questions. But we try to get to as many as we can. And hopefully we got the answers. Whether you like them or not, we got you an answer. So next week,
we'll see you guys next week.
Can we do the same bat time, babe? Same bat
channel? Same bat channel.
That's it. So,
until then.
Hey Roma time. Same Hey Roma channel. We're coming to you. And thank you very much for watching our show.
Stay honest.